Hey there, YouTube. Welcome back. This is the Allegheny Northern in N scale. Today we're going to do a product review of the Broadway Limited Imports ES44AC Heritage Unit number 8099 in the Southern livery. And this is one of my favorite locomotives as far as the paint scheme goes. My favorite locomotive is the SD40-2, but this green Southern unit is absolutely gorgeous. And when it first came out, I know there's been a couple of manufacturers that have made it, but I haven't found it in N scale until a recent release by Broadway Limited. And I have two previous Broadway Limited import locomotives, and I was not totally thrilled about them. They were the SD40-2s. I found on one of them, on the Southern unit, one of the drive shafts is totally missing from the locomotive, so it's only powered by the rear set of trucks. And then on the other one, this Norfolk Southern unit, it just it rocks really bad, and haven't been able to figure out why or how to stop it. So those two issues sort of turned me off from Broadway Limited. But when this locomotive came out, and because I liked it so much, I thought I'd give them one more shot. And you pay a lot for these locomotives. So if you're somebody just starting out, it's gonna be your first locomotive. It is an investment, for getting a DCC and sound unit, which is, I believe, the only way these things come. You're gonna shell out about $2.5 for it. And so when you get, like I did, a run of those SD40-2s that was basically just garbage in my opinion, I wasn't real thrilled about it, but I bit the bullet and I got this one. So let me take you through the sound, and we'll go ahead and get her shut down here. Okay, so she has the standard startup and shutdown sounds that pretty much all the sound locomotives have. So you heard the startup there in the beginning. As soon as you hit the startup, the interior cab lights come on. Okay, then you get the alarm bell followed by the prime mover starting, and then your locomotive goes into a standard idle. Of course, you have the bell and your horn, and yes, you do get alternating ditch lights with the horn. And I'm gonna put her into motion now. Just like all sound equipped locomotives, as you increase throttle and the locomotive starts moving, you do hear the prime mover kick up. But something else that I've noticed on this locomotive, which I think is a really cool feature, is the headlights come on as soon as you start moving, and then once you get up to speed, the cab lights shut off. Okay. And then once you come to a stop, the cab lights come back on. Like most sound equipped locomotives, this one's no different. Comes with a little cheat sheet, tells you all of the preset functions and sounds that you're going to get by pressing those various buttons. They're all the typical sounds, and for the most part, your locomotive itself is going to do most of the sound effects that it needs as it's moving. One thing that I will point out as we go around this locomotive, we do have those working ditch lights in the front that I showed you earlier, and they are awesome. However, the ones in the back are dummy. They don't light up. And that's a little disappointing, but I can get over it for the simple fact that these units typically do not run long hood forward, and therefore it's probably a detail that no one's ever going to notice except you as the owner. So as we look at the back pilot here, let's start talking about some of the details. First of all, you do get a separately applied set of MU hoses, which is just absolutely fantastic. I'm going to try to zoom in here without it going out of focus. And then you do get your fake ditch lights. You have separately applied grabs here, and that's pretty cool. I like the fact that they have that, and it's not just molded in as you get with some of these what I'll call premium locomotives. I do like when they separately apply them. It just looks better, it looks more realistic. And then get you a quick shot of the truck frame there. Looks really good. All of the detail here on the grates, and there's no fan detail in there, but they almost look see-through, which is pretty cool. So it's like a etched metal piece. So you get nice detail there with a little bit of black wash. Those grates will really look awesome. And you can see that there are all of the various warnings and do not fall off of signs all on the top of the locomotive. All the nice detail there with all of the hatches and the antenna array and various things there on the roof. That brings us around to the front hood. Separately applied grabs on the top. You can see where the windshield wipers are there. And then the ladder rungs going up are molded in place. I'm not too overly concerned about that because the front of the locomotive in general is well done. So it would have been nice to have those as separately applied grabs as well. But once again, it's a minor inconvenience, and I think we can get over that pretty quick. We come around to the front here, and there is our front pilot, our working ditch lights, our MU hoses, and the snowplow and cut lever details, etc. And that noise you heard there was my throttle getting ready to turn off. So let's go ahead and actually move our locomotive here a little bit. So one thing I want to do while we're moving the locomotive, you do realize that the cab lights come on and off as the locomotive moves, and I think that's fantastic. Does have the directional headlights, so you do get the rear headlights working, even though the ditch lights do not. And you can see there I am at 3% throttle, and she's just sort of crawling along. And as soon as you stop, the cab lights come on. And let me pick up some speed here. Okay, so let's get her cranking here a little bit. When you are running for a while and you bring the train to a sudden stop, you do get the brake squeal automatically plays, which I think is pretty cool. So let's take the locomotive here in our hands, and we're going to I'll point out a couple more nice details. Okay, giving you a better view of the truck detail there. It looks like they sit a little, like the locomotive sits a little bit high, and I thought that was kind of odd, but when it's sitting on the track, it doesn't look bad. So that's okay. And when you come along here to the front, there's a good shot of the front. The details look really, really nice. With a little bit of light weathering, I think you can bring out the some of those details a little bit better. And then here is the back pilot again. Yeah, they got the molded on cut levers, which once again, kind of a shortcut, but you can easily fix that by adding your own cut levers. So not a showstopper by any stretch of the imagination. And so overall, I mean, the locomotive looks very, very good. You can see that the printing and the decals are all very, very nice. Let's go ahead and get you some shots running around the layout. Okay, so there's some run-bys, and there were some close-ups of the actual locomotive and all of its, its features. And like I said, there's all those sounds that you can play there with the different functions. But you've seen the train moving. We were at about 30% throttle, and it does well. I broke it in at 50%. It is not a particularly fast locomotive, which is fine because you never run it at a blazing speed anyway. So I think it's scaled appropriately. I probably won't do anything with the speed settings. So now, pretty happy with the detail of the locomotive. Pretty happy with the way it ran. I did obviously immediately take this thing out of the box and make sure that both sets of trucks were powered, and they are, so they're geared correctly. The packaging was nice and in good shape, so nothing came damaged or broken. And right out of the box, it ran really, really nice. So, should you buy one? Now, the nice thing about me doing my reviews is that nobody pays me for them. Nobody pushes me towards them. They are strictly my own opinion. And so, as I give you my opinion on this particular locomotive, understand that my previous experience with these locomotives, or this manufacturer, was this guy, who, as I pointed out, did not have ditch lights on the front end, long hood forward, which is typically how these things run. And then here's my Southern locomotive that has, you can see I can just spin the wheels here and the gears just turn. And that's because there's no connection between the motor and the wheel set. Don't know how that happened. I assume it's a quality control issue, but it's pretty upsetting. Especially for what you pay for these things. So that was my previous experience, and now we're on to this one. And I got to be honest with you, this locomotive restored my faith in Broadway Limited Imports. It runs great. It sounds good. It pulls up the grades no problem. You saw those 6 cars that I had it pulling those gondolas. These locomotives won't pull those 6 cars up the same grades. This one doesn't even struggle. So it's got a good weight to it. It doesn't rock like these ones rock. These ones are just very wobbly on their trucks. I don't know why. I don't know if I just got a bad batch here or what, but if you were thinking about picking up these Heritage units, the unit that I got is absolutely gorgeous. It runs great, and I highly recommend one. So that's my review. If you got their SD40-2s and you were disappointed, you're not alone. I was too. In my mind, they ruined one of my favorite locomotives. But on this particular model, they bring it right back. And this unit is just absolutely beautiful. If you're a fan of the Southern paint scheme, or you're just collecting all of the Heritage units, you'll want this one in your collection.